the subject matter of this bill. The bill is calling for description of Islamic law.
While these Northern House of Rep members are busy pushing for the adoption of Islamic law upon a nation that is considered as a multi-religious society, the past president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, laments over the World Bank's recent publication on the 20 million out-of-school children in the country, especially in the northern region. Obasanjo, while addressing the leaders of that region, urged them to think about the possible security challenge that this tend to further accelerate. Kudos to the Senate House members who, without ado, rose to prefer solutions on this matter.
The 1999 Constitution, as amended, Mr. Speaker, provide for a personal Islamic law. Therefore, what I'm requiring is the removal of the removal of personal in section 24 of the Constitution, section 262, section 277, and section 288, so that other relevant laws like the the commercial law, Islamic commercial law, the Islamic company law, the Islamic international law can have a place in the Constitution. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is what I want the honorable colleagues to support so that this amendment can be done.
I understand how sensitive matters related to religion are, especially in this country. But the fact of the matter is we cannot treat religion issues in isolation. There are issues that we must bring to the front burner and discuss, irrespective of how sensitive they are. The bill intends to review the description of Islamic law, which means it's already enshrined in the Constitution. What it seeks to achieve is to review the description. So it's already in the Constitution. I don't understand why we will see it as something that will lead to snowball into a crisis or what have you. This is what we have done that over the years that has led us to not make progress on certain issues. It doesn't matter how sensitive these issues are. We must be able to debate them. This is what our people sent us here to do. You know, if we run away from discussing a problem, if we assume it to be a problem, and we're running away from discussing it, how will you provide a solution to it? I will agree and accept the fact that there is need for further, broader consultation. But for us to run away from the problem, for us to drop it and say it's not an issue to be discussed on this floor, I don't think it's something that is acceptable.
I agree Nigeria is a secular state where we have different opinions, traditions, religion, and what have you. But if you see this motion or this bill, it will help Nigerians to know that these commercial banks, especially Taj Bank and what have you, many people have perceived that these banks are specifically for Muslims, while it is not. So by expanding this nature, I believe when it is encompasses to everybody, many people will see the benefit of this bill, and I believe in the near future, many people will see that the mover put this in a right direction.
We need to understand the subject matter of this bill. The bill is calling for description of Islamic law. I think it's a straightforward bill. He is not calling the fact that, he's not calling for expunging the existing Sharia law, but rather to define it in order to encompass all those, existing situations that have just come up.
We all know that Nigeria comprises of so many religions and also tribes and communities. But these religious matters, we consider it as a way of life, not just a mere religion. So considering the ethics and the values and the interest of the masses, not looking at the division or being cautious of what this will cause, Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is supposed to pass for the second reading.
Honorable Mr. who is calling, I think, is in the right direction to give a back-off for the commercials and other laws that already they are practicing without proper backing, particularly in our Islamic-related financial institution of not only limited to Taj Bank or Jaiz Bank, but there are several banks that are now practicing, particularly the Mudahara and the other sharing formulas. I think this is a very welcome development that it will give even an economic leeway for the nation to see the goodness of such practices in our financial institution to get the back-off of the law.
World Bank says we have over 20 million children who should be in school that are not in school. For a population of about, what, 220, 230 million. So that is 10% of our population that should be in school that are not in school. Governor, Your Royal Highnesses, brothers and sisters, that is recruitment for future Boko Haram. Think about it.
In 2024, we are talking of tens of thousands of little children out of school. This is very shameful. So I think this report is not enough for us to tackle this issue. We must address this head on. State governors have to come to the table and be honest about taking care of this thing. Why should even federal government be involved in funding primary education? Why should it be? So, Mr. President, sir, this report, I believe if we should follow it up, take all the inputs that a lot of senators have made here and challenge ourselves to seeing that this works. Because if you don't give that foundation, if you don't give that basic foundation, our educational system will be rubbished.
The crisis facing our educational system is at the core of insecurity, is at the core of leadership failure, is at the core of a lot of issues affecting the development of this country. And one of the most important contributions this Senate can make in our national development efforts is to ensure that we get to the root of this.
About the universal basic education is that the government will provide certain parts of the fund, while the state government will complement. But we have billions of naira lying fallow at the universal basic education, with the state unable to come up with their own counterpart funding to address all these menace we have under the out-of-school children. They cannot come up with the fund. And the federal government every year, because universal basic education in the budgetary allocation is a first-line charge item. So the federal government is providing their fund, but the subnationals are not coming up with their own counterpart funding, which is a problem.
The committee considered the submission from the Ministry of Education and observed that there is urgent need to hit the ground and activate the roadmap of the federal government on curtail the out-of-school children. No tangible action has been taken by the ministry considering the out-of-school children since 2024, notwithstanding its relevance. There is no reliable data to date on the out-of-school children. This deserves urgent attention to tackle the menace. Out-of-school children is a national phenomenon, especially with the vivid form of insecurity, kidnapping, and banditry all over the country. Number and status of which varies from state to state, but the focus on tackling it over the years has been a few states there has not been synergy or roadmap with the state government on out-of-school children. Our recommendation, the committee recommends that the Senate do urge the federal government to expand and implement the school feeding program to attract attendance of children to school and support their health and well-being. Urge the federal government to design an inclusive national policy on education that will energize the national and sub-national government to tackle responsibility and ownership and provide improved security safety of school at their levels. All the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation Agency, community and religious leaders, and all relevant agencies to embark on national sensitization aimed at identifying and enrolling out-of-school children. All the national legislators to liaise with various state and local government to ascertain accurate data of out-of-school children for adequate planning and funding. All the executive to allocate and timely release adequate funds to the Federal Ministry of Education and other relevant government agencies charged with the responsibility tackling of out-of-school children to reduce it to the barest minimum within the timeline 2024 to 2027 for execution of the education renewal hub agenda of the present administration.
This is clearly the future of Nigeria, and I pray that through the National Summit, the resolutions to be implemented, issues to be well highlighted, and then all efforts to be made to bring this menace to an end so that our children can have a better future and not an adulthood in banditry, an adulthood in BOKO HARAM, an adulthood in fraud. I so rule.